As a senior, to say that the invitation of Vice President Pence as my commencement speaker was deeply disappointing would be an understatement.
As the son of two undocumented immigrants, Pence has made it very clear that my family and I are not welcome in this country.
As a member of the small but proud LGBTQ community at Notre Dame, the university's support of an anti-LGBTQ politician is both frustrating and sad.
The night that Donald Trump was elected has stayed in my mind. I was afraid. Horrifying stories came in from friends, one of whom was openly harassed and told that he would soon be deported from this country. The country where, by the way, he was born. I left my room and jittered down the hall where one of my ARs had scrawled MAGA on the whiteboard outside his room. There didn't seem to be a way out.
Coming out is the hardest thing I have ever done, especially because I was on campus when I did so. Against all odds, I have found my place here. When Pence was announced as a commencement speaker, I cried because I no longer felt safe or loved or wanted at Notre Dame. Pence and this administration have implied that same-sex attraction is a defect and a disease and a choice.
My hometown's high school district has been embroiled in controversy from challenges to a transgender student's right to use their gender's locker room. Bigotry like this goes beyond rights to common spaces like locker rooms. It is an encroachment on the right to be transgender in public at all. Knowing that Mike Pence would likely support these hateful views is devastating.
Shortly after coming out, I was sexually assaulted by a male, something the Trump-Pence administration has been pretty vocally okay with, even to the extent of bragging about it.
I especially object to Pence's utter disregard for the human dignity of those who are incarcerated or have been charged with a crime. I recently had the privilege of listening to Mr. Keith Cooper speak at Notre Dame Law School. Mr. Cooper, who was wrongfully convicted and incarcerated for 9 years despite his innocence, was denied a pardon by Pence.
We have witnessed presidency after presidency recommit themselves to the war on drugs, mass incarceration, and turning a blind eye to the structural violence committed against Black and brown people. And frankly, I'm fed up. We need to address the structural violence that communities of color face daily. We need to address the lack of training in police forces, which make Black men and women more likely to be killed by police.
Pence attempted to ban Syrian refugees from Indiana. His reasoning? He says that as governor, his first responsibility is to ensure the safety and security of all Hoosiers. This is xenophobic bullshit. Let's set aside the fact that the approval process for refugees to enter the U.S. is extremely extensive and complicated. What does this signal to the nation? That we can discriminate against someone, deny them statehood because of our own fear and ignorance.
Anyone that wants to deport my family and friends has never tried to understand the humanity of immigrants.
Black and brown people are not pawns to be capitalized on. They are not checks for you to cash into your private prisons, and they sure as hell aren't less worthy of respect than anyone else. This administration has demonstrated that they'd like no part in achieving equity for Black and brown communities.
It is difficult to know that fighting for meaningful criminal justice reform will be even harder with this administration. It is also difficult to know that my alma mater has signaled a far lesser commitment to the human dignity of all than it professes to uphold.
Through this choice of commencement speaker, Notre Dame has decided to not support our DACA, undocumented, and first-generation students.
I was quite literally grabbed by the pussy by my assailant, and to think that the university has not denounced, but rather uplifted this administration makes me sick. I thought that Catholicism was supposed to be about love and acceptance, but especially after the choice of this commencement speaker, I feel like there is no love here for me.
That's everything that we as a Catholic university should be fighting against. And so I've been fighting, and I hope that you will join us in making this campus and this country a better, safer place.
Because ultimately, by bringing Mike Pence here, the safety and comfort of many students are put at risk.
Mike Pence's presence as our commencement speaker is an insult to all minority, queer, and marginalized peoples on our campus.
I don't need to waste my time listening to someone who dehumanizes the people I love. I will be walking out as he gets on stage, because he doesn't deserve the respect he denies to more than 11 million people.
Notre Dame constantly asks its community, what would you fight for? I find the selection of Vice President Pence both profoundly disheartening, but also a reason to fight all the harder.
Pence has consistently proven that he is not a public servant to all. If he does not serve us, then he does not represent us. Pence is not my VP, and he sure as shit is not my commencement speaker.
I hope the university and the vice president know that we will not stay quiet.